brilliant speed with vibrant service, vibrant broadband internet.
All right, boys, and it's all boys today. It's your show.
Hey, good morning. Are you hearing me?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
All right.
I can hear you now.
Here we are. All right. Well, thank you for having us, Jeff.
Sure.
All right. Welcome to Vibrant U Live. My name is Shane.
I'm Bo.
And I'm Nathan.
And next Wednesday, we are having a Vibrant U education event called Hackers, Scammers, and AI. Jane and I will be hosting that at Meeker Energy. It starts at 5:30. It's free. Again, next Wednesday. And just to kind of kick things off today, I thought, well, let's talk about hacking and what it is and how to protect yourself from hacking. And the term hack has a few meanings, and I think Bo's going to... it's. I guess I didn't include that meaning.
Oh, I see.
So, but anyway, Bo's going to just kind of talk about the meaning of hack.
Yeah, there's a few different meanings and ways people use hacks. So originally it's referred to as like a clever or maybe unconventional way of solving a problem, whether that's technology or even life hacks. A lot of cooking hacks have been popularized now with the cooking shows on TV, the YouTube channels. So like a hack may be, for example, you need softened butter for baking, but it's rock hard because you just got it from the fridge. You can use a cheese grater to shred the cold butter into thin curls, and it softens really quickly and mixes easily. I just learned that fact like 5 minutes ago, so it's that's a life hack. I haven't used the hack yet, but I think I will because I've definitely run into that problem. Or you got like the hardware hacking, trying to figure out ways to, for instance, make a Wi-Fi garage door opener from a small computer, just things like that. So those are some of the ways that people have used the term hacking, and Nathan's going to go into a few more here.
Yeah, there's biohacking, which is like experimenting with biology or the human body, whether this is for health reasons or implanting technology. A couple examples I know off the top of my head. I know one guy owned an electric car like a Tesla, and I think he implanted his Tesla's, like, I think it's kind of small, like his remote control, like under his skin, so he could open his car and start his car. He didn't have to carry it around; it was literally implanted in his body.
Wow, it's pretty extreme.
Yeah, I know they're actually experimenting right now. I can't remember the name of the company. Neuralink, I think maybe, is a company and there's a couple that are testing it right now where they're implanting technology chips like in the brain to help people that have been paralyzed or have other ailments that can use technology to try to help their bodies. So, or even something like intermittent fasting is kind of a hack of a way to improve your body in a certain way. There's ethical hacking, where you're testing systems to find and fix vulnerabilities. And then there's also computer hacking, which is probably what we're going to mainly focus on. And that's gaining unauthorized access to like computer systems and networks, most often to steal information or money or disrupt a company or something, and then or to manipulate information or manipulate people. So that's probably the most common that people think of is computer hacking, but lots of different kinds of hacking.
Right. I was hacked a few years ago. I have a home server, and I have all my files from, I guess it'd be a couple decades now. And I had photos, I had, client files and, all kinds of different things. And it got hacked into. And I woke up one day, I noticed, wow, I can't get into my server from my computer. What's going on? And I noticed that all these files had a weird extension on the end. It was just kind of really long. So instead of a .jpeg, it was a dot and a bunch of numbers and letters. And I had an email that said, if you send us $15,000 in Bitcoin, we'll send you the key to unlock your system. And the email came, and it was like 2:30 in the morning or something like that, and it came from Russia. And so they got into my home server, and they hacked into it. And luckily, I had a backup of everything, and so I was able just to wipe everything clean and then just reload everything back onto it. So, but that's just something that we'll talk about, protecting yourself a little bit later. But in terms of cyber security, we're going to talk about digital hacking, like Nathan mentioned. So it's about computers, and digital hackers, they exploit your systems and vulnerability. That's hard to say.
Oh, yeah.
In software. Vulnerable. Yes, I can't even say it slowly. Hardware and user behavior. Now, there's some different names for hackers. There's the black hat hacker. He's there for malicious intent, and he wants to steal data and spread malware and harm computers. There's white hat hackers, and they're the ethical hackers that Nathan mentioned. They're the ones that kind of help organizations find those vulnerabilities. And there I said it. Hey,
there, man, you're catching on.
I'm catching on, and find those and then help plug those holes, so to speak. And then there's the gray hat hackers, and they operate in legal gray areas, and they may hack without permission, but not for harm. So, what is a hacker, Bo?
Well, a hacker in the cybersecurity sense is more the black hat, where they have a malicious intent. They really want to steal your identity. They want to disrupt something or exploit. Their intentions are always bad, whatever their intentions are, and they're usually financial gain. A lot of it's corporate espionage, or even as high up as political sabotage. Everyone's trying to get dirt on somebody, and a good way to do it is to hack into someone's personal device. So they usually rely on stealth, deception, maybe a sense of urgency is kind of a big one. They want people to do something without thinking, so they leave themselves vulnerable to actually getting hacked. So there's a lot of different ways to avoid this that we're going to go into a little bit, but that's essentially what a hacker's looking to do, and Nathan's going to go into a little bit into how they actually get into our systems.
Yeah, so there's several ways that they can go about doing this. Probably the most common that probably everybody listening has been attacked using is a phishing attack, and that's phishing with a PH. That's usually where you get emails is the most common when it comes to phishing, where you get a message from that looks like legitimate company. They want you to log in. You may get a message from Netflix saying, hey, your account has been compromised. Click this link and log in to update your information. And it's not actually from Netflix, and they want you to log in, so they have your login credentials, or they're trying to get you to click a link to bring you to some other bad website or something like that. So oftentimes they're trying to get access to your logins of some kind or collect personal information. Another option for them would be exploiting software vulnerabilities.
Not so easy to say.
This is where
now we're all second guessing it.
I feel like I've never had problems, and now I can't do it. I've been jinxed. But so this is when they're taking advantage of the system. Maybe your software is not up to date. I know a lot of people put off updating their phones or their computers or their apps, but the reason that those updates exist is to fill in gaps and fix problems for security. So if you haven't kept stuff up to date, they're looking for ways to get in via the software. There's malware deployment. This is where you hear of your Trojans, your ransomware, your spyware. That's usually downloads that someone accidentally does on their computer. Either they're on a bad website and they click on something to download it, or they get an email attachment that they click on and download that can download something bad to their computer. There's brute force or credential hacking, where they're using basically automated tools usually, and they're trying to use systems to guess passwords or to gather stolen information to break into accounts manually. This is where you see in pretty unrealistic computer movies where there's a quote-unquote hacker that sits at a computer and somehow just guesses everyone's password. Probably unrealistic, but there are systems that can run thousands of passwords a minute, and they just tries and tries and tries and tries and tries again. And then there's remote access exploits. This is when, in this day and age, so many people are either working remote or schooling remote or accessing computer systems when they're not in the office. So this is when the companies are specifically targeting remote workers and cloud systems to gain access to a company when they're not even in the office. They don't have to access this stuff on site. So
a hacker differs from a scammer in the way that hackers are attacking systems or computers, and a scammer is attacking you, right? So think of it like a bank robber versus a mugger. Okay, so the bank robber's going after the bank, and they don't care who's in there. They're not targeting any individual, but a mugger, they are targeting you personally. So hackers want to get into computers and networks and devices and exploit ways to steal data and disrupt operations. They use code to break into software. They rely on technical exploits using malware and brute force, like Nathan mentioned, and remote access. Hackers breach defenses rather than bypass them. So they just kind of drill through them, and they don't try to get around them, where scammers are trying to kind of get around these systems and get in that way. And scammers want your trust, but hackers want your system. So again, hackers are going after devices, and scammers are kind of going after you. And scammers impersonate authority figures or loved ones. Hackers, they impersonate like legitimate software or services to gain access. And you know, we hear a lot about this data breach, this data leak has just happened, and this happened. Google, you know, you lost a lot of data from this breach, such and such. That's what this is. It's not that somebody, you know, emailed out a file with everybody's information, right? It's a hacker that got in. And Bo's going to talk about a couple recent ones that happened actually this year.
Yeah, if you haven't heard about this McDonald's, it's an AI chatbot leak, which they use this chatbot McDonald's does for like a streamlined hiring process. It's something that they use to just make it easier to onboard people. But in using that system, which they called Olivia, a hacker accessed it and was able to access 64 million job applications just by using the password 123456. So they probably have a lot of security, but this individual thing didn't, and it exposed, you know, names, emails, phone numbers, and chat logs. And so a lot of times this advanced technology that we come up with and we're using, we just need to make sure we're still using the old school security to keep hackers out. And another one that was in the news in July was the Anne Arundel dermatology breach, and it's one of the largest medical breaches this year, and it had 1.9 million patients affected, and the hackers had access actually to the system from February all the way to May before they were detected. So they were able to get, you know, birthdays, insurance info, medical records, which are, you know, very secure normally. But that's just a little example of what can be done if, you know, hackers can get into the system if the security is not up to par. So if it sounds scary, you know, there are ways to protect yourself, and Nathan's going to go into a little bit about how you can, you know, take steps to make sure this doesn't happen to you.
Yeah, luckily there's a lot of things you can do to protect yourself and make yourself more safe from stuff like hackers. So the number one thing is use strong, unique passwords. And if you use a password manager, use a secure one. Don't just write this down in a book that someone can swipe, or don't keep it on an unlocked note on your phone or something like that. But strong and unique passwords, every password different if possible, or use several different versions, and use complicated passwords. Don't just use, you know, just use something simple and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and stuff like that. The next thing, and more and more companies are requiring this, but makes a huge difference, is two-factor authentication, where you're trying to log into something. Your banks are pretty much all putting them in. You're trying to log in online. Well, it's going to send you like a text message or an email that you have to then put in the 6-digit code or whatever that they send you. So if someone's trying to hack you and they don't have access to your phone or email, they're just going to get in your bank. It's going to put a dead stop to them logging in. So the two-factor authentication is awesome. I know it can seem annoying to have to do, but it's a big step in keeping you safe. I mentioned earlier, but keep your software and your devices updated. The number one reason for updates when it comes to like software or your apps, your computer, your cell phone, any of this stuff, is security. They've identified a vulnerability and they've found a way to fix it, but you need to update to get that fix. Be cautious with emails and links, and I'll say text messages as well. This is more and more common. You see emails and text messages that have links to click. Oh, you owe this fine. Oh, the DMV, you missed a toll or whatever. Click here to pay this link. Those are, you know, always be careful when you're clicking on any kind of link, especially if it's an unexpected email or text. Secure your Wi-Fi. Make sure you have a good Wi-Fi password that neighbors, people parked outside aren't going to use your Wi-Fi without permission. And then be wary of joining public Wi-Fis that are free with no password specifically. If you're out and about and you're at a restaurant, the airport, you know, wherever, and you're just trying to use Wi-Fi. Unlocked networks, those can be a red flag. If you connect and someone else is connected, they may be able to access your system. So be wary of that. Back up your data as often as possible. Like Shane mentioned, if he didn't have a backup of all of his stuff, he might have been forced to pay $15,000 just to get access to a lot of his work stuff. So backing up stuff is huge. teach your kids and teach the seniors in your life how to stay safe online. Just because you grew up in the digital age doesn't mean everybody did. Some people may not be aware of some of the stuff we talked about today. It's always good to talk about it, talk about what to look for, and just keep people safe online. And then if you've been a part of a data leak of some kind, you're a customer of such and such brand, and they announce that they had some sort of compromised issue. A lot of these companies, if they have an attack or a breach, a lot of them will give you free access to services to protect your credit score, your credit, your social security number, stuff that normally costs money that you may now get access to for free because you were compromised in a way. So a lot of these companies will reach out to you. Hey, your information may have been compromised. Here's what we're doing to help it. Here's what you can use. Otherwise, if you hear about a leak and you're concerned, I would contact that company and see if they have services to stay protected, or if you might have been part of the leak.
To learn more about this and scammers and AI and ways to protect yourself, next Wednesday we will be having our Vibrant You Hackers, Scammers, and AI. Right. It's at Maker Energy at 5:30, and it's free. We're also sponsoring the Hospital Golf fundraiser this Friday, so you can come out and see us there if you're participating. If you have questions on this or anything else about Vibrant, give us a call at 693-3231 or learn more about us at vibrantbroadband.com. Catch the replay on Facebook and YouTube. Search for Vibrant Broadband. Of course, listen here every Wednesday live at 10:30 on KLFD. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Jeff. Yep. My name is Shane.
I'm Bo.
And I'm Nathan.
Tune in next week for another Vibrant You Live.
Brilliant speed with vibrant service. Vibrant broadband internet. Vibrant broadband internet.